police department, and many other educational institutions. He represents the voice of the LGBTQIA community through his guest appearances in various TV debates and national public events. He is a well-known social media influencer, a famous designer. I actually was almost going to wear a necklace today. I said, no, 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 scarf is much better. Can't wear jewelry in front of Akash. He has worked with so many celebrities. We've got the Susmita Sen, we've got Gauhar Khan, Swara Bhaskar, Mandra Bedi, Zeenat Aman, Lakshmi Agarwal, and various others. And he has also inspired a feminist inspired fashion shows. He is currently running an initiative called Pride India. So, Akash, with that, welcome to Sipping Thoughts. We're so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that introduction, that warm welcome. And I was very excited and looking forward to have some sipping thoughts with you all. Very much looking forward for this evening because trust me, when we still have places to go and to reach, and we still have homes to knock and to talk to people about the LGBTQIA plus identity and how very Indian a gay identity has to be understand with that perspective. So thank you for doing this.
Oh, well, it's our pleasure. But first of all, guys, this is a no holds barred session. So we would like to ask you also to please put on your cameras, please come online if you can. Also, ask the questions that are on your mind. I know a lot of times I also feel very shy. I don't know where to ask them. I read and then I try to understand. Maybe I get some misinformation. But I think, Akash, will start with that first question. I think the first question is that you define yourself as a queer. So,
Mhm.
what is that, and how is that, and how does that form in terms of the LGBTQIA plus, which
So
is a tongue twister in itself, right now?
absolutely. So queer itself has this word itself has beautiful journey. This word was the very first time used with people in America in a very derogatory term. It was a word used for people of different identities who there and then the regime of America was not understanding. So all the hippies, all the freebirds, all the bohemians, all the bisexual, same-sex relationship people, or the people who were just talking about love and power of love and who were just wanting happiness around, were all called weird and queer. For long, it was used as derogatory. Even when we meet to our international veterans of the community, and we say that how we love saying queer, they still have inhibition attached to it, because for long they have been demonized with this word. For long they have been subjected to hate with the identity of queer. But that what how this word now is today is people like me saying yes, we are queer, because these words and your thought of these words, we don't care, and we will reaffirm what a queer is. Uh, we'll reintroduce the idea of being queer. It is not to look down. It is not the people who are doing wrong or illegal substances are to be called queer. So how I actually started myself by seeing myself as gay, but I really like the fluidity of a queer. The umbrella term of queer is beautiful. It's fluid. It is not boxing me. It's even not boxing me in LGBTQIA. So it's very much fluid and it's very much breathable and it's very much unboxing the identity.
Fantastic. But I think for me and for a lot of others, we're very confused because all these terms, LGBTQIA, what is the difference? Can you walk us through?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
and in layman terms, so that we all understand, is there a difference, or are they just the spectrum of sexuality that is now emerging?
No, I completely respect with your confusion, Sukriti ji, but the idea is that we as Indians should not be confused with diversity. I really feel very offended when people say,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Apologies.
no. Try to understand what I want to say. That we as Indians having this beautiful diverse culture, but somehow we have always lived in a cocoon of not understanding the other people. So it's almost like how we mix the Northeasterns with Chinese or Nepalis. It's almost like saying a Malayali, Gujarati, or a Keralite, just South Indian. We live in our own centric world and we don't want to move out of it, whereas it is our responsibility to understand more in the diversity. So is LGBTQ. It's a diverse spectrum. It's a gender spectrum, and L is for lesbians, and I always say it's a silent L. Gays like me come to podiums like these, walk in heels, do what we can do because we still have that, what should I say, bliss of patriarchy, that we can walk out and do what we wish, which with the woman can't. So I always say L is almost like a silent L. The
When you
lesbian
say silent L, that you mean women are not coming out as much and
are
expressing
not.
that they are
No, yeah,
lesbian?
I say silent L almost like taking it from the English vocabulary because this is how we want our woman to be, silent. The lesbian identity, a woman loving a woman, is an absolute shh thing. We cannot talk about it, right? So L is lesbian, G is gay, B is bisexual, T is transgender, who are often confused in India with a Kinner identity or a Hijra identity, which is not that. Uh, LGBTQ square, all of them coming together, and anybody who's fluid can be called as square. LGBTQI. I is intersex. Now, intersex is what the Kinners or the Hijras are.
Okay.
Yeah. A is asexual, the very agency of not having sex, not feeling like having sex. It's not that the person is not physically fit to not to have sex. It's just that that person doesn't want to explore his sexual fantasies or demands or likes. So that's A. And LGBTQIA plus is all that we have lost and not talked about. We welcome them all. So the whole idea of adding plus is very beautiful. It's like, why are we limiting ourselves and by saying that we are just LGBTQI? Let anybody and everybody who feel vulnerable,
We
who
come in
feel,
the plus also.
oh,
Woman
why
math.
not? Allies are our biggest plus. The allies are the biggest plus to us. Oh, absolutely. So plus stands for allies too.
Now, I want to ask you a question before we go into the bulk because I was very confused as you saw when I was reading and I read and it said he. And I was like, should I replace it with a she? Should I say they? I mean, we are also very confused in terms of I did not know how to address you.
Yeah, but it's a very beautiful question because I really have a lot of love and respect for people who even think this much for us. Because there are people who have never thought of what to say them. They were almost saying us what they wished for long, right? They were using whatever slur they wanted to use for long. But to everyone who asks you and say, would you like me to, how do I pronounce you, is a good thing to start with because the other person can have his own thought process and expects his own wants. Second thing is that somebody like personally with me, I'm very okay for somebody saying me Akash, somebody saying me for sir, somebody saying me ma'am. It's almost like कि वो क्या एक बहुत अच्छा दोहा है ना कि जिन देखी प्रभु मूरत तेरी मतलब वो जैसा देखते हो आप, how you see the world is what you can learn out of it, right? As long as that pronoun is coming out of love and respect, I'm so okay with it. I don't get offended with anything, and that's what I love about being queer. The fluidity, the spectrum. There's no rigidness to be called me this only. Yeah, so my range of spectrum is from he to she and to wherever, but as long as it comes with love and dignity. With pronouns, I would just give a quick tip to everybody who's listening to me. Obviously, when you're confused about pronouncing someone, try to think and see, is that person more towards a feminine side and would like to be called as feminine? Is that person more a muscular side and should I call him towards that? That is from a space we can see, right? That's a
But
general
it
thing.
is safer to ask them. Are you
It's
saying that
perfectly, it's
it is
absolutely perfect.
perfectly acceptable to say, please do let me know
Hey,
how you would like
yeah,
to be addressed?
and the whole idea ki Akash is like gender neutral, is beyond gender. Yeah, so why not? Yeah, so we can start with saying them with their name and then asking them like, how should we pronounce you?
Perfect. Now, this is one of the questions, of course, before you get into your presentation, and then I have many more questions
Yeah.
for you. This taboo subject, taboo, taboo, taboo. I mean, nobody wants to talk about it. We don't even want to mention it. It's a forbidden discussion. And sometimes people even feel by speaking about it, we're
Yeah.
actually making it more, we want to normalize it, but some people have a real reluctance about this.
Hmm. Tell me
I bring
which.
this up because of this, the session we're having today.
No,
So
no,
people
I
understand
completely.
the
Tell
thought.
me with what people don't have taboo attached to. We still have taboo attached to talking about periods. We still have taboo attached to talk about waxing. We still have taboo attached to buying an underwear. We still have taboos to everything. But then what is this taboo gonna do? For how long we will live with that taboo? I as individual have to break out and come out of those taboos. For society, when will they? Their call, their choice, their own evolution. But yeah, that so-called taboo, you know, how I think that the only way we can reduce taboo in our lives is while we stop surpassing it. Well,
What do you mean by that? Explain that further.
it's like me not victimizing someone for the skin color, me being not racist, me being not patriarchal, me being not misogynistic, me being not doing what I don't want people to do to me being being just shutting down all the taboos instead of being a part to that and playing the role, and that's how taboo reduces.
So, well, with that, Akash, I know you have a short presentation for us. Let's go through that because my questions will not end. And, guys, like I said, this is an interactive session. The idea is for all of us to get more comfortable. So, please do keep sending us your questions. Please keep sending us your thoughts, and we will keep interrupting Akash all the way.
Well, absolutely. So this is my small little initiative, which is as Pride India, an initiative for young India and young at heart and not just at age, is what we believe in. I'll just take you guys through it, and we'll start from very basic. This quote of Mahatma Gandhi has really what shaped my life. How beautifully it is said, and it really took me like what few years to understand. It was first introduced me in a school, and I was like, "ये क्या है? Change भी हमें चाहिए और change भी हमें होना है. What is this?" But now when I started living for that change, it was beautiful. And I really live by these quotes by Mahatma Gandhi, which says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And let's talk about the ABCD of LGBTQ. And let's talk about what is sexuality and what is gender and how two are different. So, sexuality actually refers to a person, for example, he being a gay, he being a lesbian, he being bisexual through his emotional or feeling or his romantic side of it, or to say that how he feels inside. Whereas the gender refers to mostly as man, woman.
And maybe a third gender now that has been introduced.
Yeah. So they're all three genders which are very much attached to your uh, genitals. That's how the difference is of the sexual identity and the gender identity. Okay, this amazing umbrella, amazing confusion of LGBTQIA is, as we discussed, is L for lesbians, gay for gays, B for bisexuals, T for transgenders, Q for queers, I for intersex, A for asexuals, and plus for everyone and anyone who wants to wish to be a part of the umbrella. So there are a lot of myths about the LGBTQ community, and we will talk about how the mental and physical disease, it was always considered, all the taboos we were discussing earlier, the myths attached to it कि ये तो बीमारिक ये तो मानसिक बीमारी
दिमाग की बीमारी है.
ये तो मानसिक बीमारी है और ये तो तुम इलाज कराओ और वो शफा खाना जाओ और झाड़ा लगवाओ और पाठ पढ़ो, you will be all okay. Trust me, if that would have been the case, I would have done that all. Nobody wants to live a life being judged by millions of people in and out. Nobody wants to live under a pressure of the identity they are born with. So वो नहीं हो सकता. It is against religion and culture. This is the most easiest thing to put people and say ये हमारी समाज का हिस्सा नहीं है, हमारे धर्म का हिस्सा नहीं है. And but lucky us, we had Ardhanareshwar. Lucky us, we had Kama Sutra. Lucky us, we had the Vishnu Roop celebrating Mohini and what not. So हमारी तो religion का और धर्म का और जात का और culture का हर चीज का हिस्सा है हमारी identity. It is unnatural. Why it is unnatural? Because you think that there is particular body parts
But
which are
is it
making us.
because unnatural? Also, I will ask a question. Sorry to
Yeah, yeah,
interrupt you,
please, please,
Akash.
please, please, please,
Because
please.
the idea of sex is only to produce and procreate.
And the idea of sex was never about procreate. Idea of sex was to explore life. Even the rishis used to explore life even when they were not having kids. Even the tantra has enough significance of exploring bodies and having good sex, and they were not even penetrating. So loving each other, having intimacy, having sex has nothing to do with having a kid, and not anymore when you're already 140 crore people in India. Not anymore when you can't give education to your child. Not anymore when you cannot have a free health and free education in the system. So you're not an Ambani who really has to have kids to take care. You are somebody who's even struggling to meet your bills every day, and you still want a legacy to go after you. You know. So I completely disassociate of having a child and having sex. So nothing is unnatural as long as you enjoy it. And there are some really specific laws of what should be unnatural and what should not be doing, and absolutely we should take care of things like that, which is like and there enough of like, while the section 377 got scrapped, they never scrapped the whole section, they just got the people out of that section. So anybody who still have crossbreeding or having a sex with their dog at home or a horse at farms is still criminal. So can you imagine two men or two women having sex were almost considered as if a man having a sex with a horse, which is absolutely disgusting. Threat to national integrity. Trust me, I'm very national, and trust me, I'm more national than many, so we will not spoil your integrity at all. So this is again this also, and with this point I might say that because of this point, which still people believe, the day we got the judgment, on the fourth day, the then general of the army came out and said this will not apply in Indian army. Because the Indian army has its own rule book. So it is still criminal to be homosexual while you're at service or in uniform.
Has the service actually started taking people that are homosexual?
No, no, they will ban them. They will the court martial kar denge. It's a crime with them.
So it's still considered a crime.
Yeah, yeah, it's absolutely. On the day fourth, he came and he said, "Hello, no going here and there. It's not our rule of book. Let Supreme Court do what they want to do, but for us, it is criminal." Yeah. So and it causes AIDS and it causes pedophilia. Now, AIDS is something which can happen to anyone. Why would just gay person passes to anyone? It can happen with to a woman, to a man, to a man, to a woman. So it was not about that LGBTQ, but this idea of causing AIDS and pedophilia comes from a very American thought process. Because in America, basically when the AIDS started penetrating in society, most of the victims were LGBTQ community, and they thought that it is a queer community disease and it is their problem and they're the reason of this. So it had a lot of taboo attached to it, and pedophilia is something very close to my heart because what should I say? That I've been a victim of it. Yeah. So for all those people who say that this community indulge in pedophilia, the fact is this that this community is the victim of pedophilia. There are kids of like me who never knew who they are, but a criminal mind, but somebody who had a vindictive thought or who wanted to explore a body misused us as kids. So we have been actually because our parents never thought that our child is vulnerable or feminine, right? And we let the child loose, and then these criminal mindsets let do what they were
But
want.
Akash, speak more about this because I think we had this discussion also yesterday
Yeah,
that the amount, especially for a boy child,
yeah,
we're talking here, of course, about the LGBTQ community,
yeah,
but also about the boy child, that a lot of times we think that
yeah.
they are safe and it is only the girl child that we need to protect. So please talk a little bit more about this because that was also enlightening.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want me to talk more about it, I'll talk it from a very personal experience, and I'll tell you how at the age of 14 I was abused. How at the 14, when I never knew who I am, I was rubbed like anything in a hospital. I was admitted in a hospital for a medical procedure, and while I was in the hospital, a nursing staff came and explored with my body. And that exploration was that the fine that nursing staff, I was to had some, I should say, okay, I had to have this medical treatment, and there was an operation which was to happen the next day. So before that, there was a hygiene nursing staff who came and wanted to remove my hairs of the body for the operation. While he was removing my hair, Sukriti, he started exploring my body, and I froze. And I froze because I was confused, and I never knew what to do. And with that ustara, you remember पहले वो उस्तरे चलते थे, वो उस्तरा उसने बंद करा, and he inserted in my rectum. And I still remember, or I still have the proof of it, that we still have that report that while the endoscopy happened, because that was what's supposed to happen, uh, the report had rectum rupture reported in it. And all my life, like for long, for like 4 or 5 years, my family thought, why was your rectum rupture? We can't even know that. And I really had no idea to say what. So this is just one of those experiences which people think कि हमारे बच्चे के साथ नहीं होगा, या हमारे आसपास नहीं होता, या ये तो समाज में होता ही नहीं है. Yeah. Should we go back?
Yes, please.
Oh God, when I look back to all of it now today, I just can just laugh over it. Western influence.
Then I think it's real fear, no? Because I think that we have to be a lot more aware these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Western influence is something sold out completely. हाँ, ये तो बिल्कुल हाई क्लास में होता है, वाइन पीने वालों में होता है, किटी पार्टीज में होता है, ये अलग ही कल्चर है, ये हमारा है ही नहीं, और ये तो अंग्रेजियत से आता है, इसमें भारतीयता की कोई बात ही नहीं है. Sold out for long because LGBTQIA is an English terminology. Sorry to say, हम पे हिंदी में समलैंगिकता के सिवा कोई शब्द ही नहीं है. हम इसके बारे में बात ही नहीं करते. हम इस बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं तो हमें ये इंडियन कहाँ लगेगा, हमें सब वेस्टर्न ही लगेगा. And that's for long we lived with this thought.
But we also talked about this, na, Akash, because the terminology itself, like what we said, कि
Absolutely.
है ही नहीं मतलब terms.
Absolutely. कैसे होगा, मतलब see जो था भी, there's enough text which has been misguided, misused, and have been taken out, you know, like for long we don't talk about Ardhanarishwar ever, no. हम सब Ram, Sita, Lakshman सबकी बात कर लेते हैं. Ardhanarishwar is what we actually discover in life at a time. We don't celebrate telling people the Mohini Rupa, or celebrating the Bhrinalala of Arjun in Gita, or Shikhandi's self-will of a woman transforming into a man. We don't want to talk about it. We will talk about कि हमारे गीता में लिखा है कि हमने वाहन कैसे बनाया, हम उड़ के लंका कैसे पहुंचे. बट हम ये नहीं बोलेंगे कि हमारी गीता में फर्स्ट जेंडर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की भी डिस्कशन हो रही है. Right? So we pick and choose what we want to talk, and we do that. Why schools and colleges should teach gender studies? This, you know, when I started talking about gender studies in school some 2 years back, not very old. And first time I was invited to speak at the school, and I was myself had my own preconceived notions of how to say and what to say, had my own thought. अच्छा ये बोलना चाहिए, ये नहीं बोलना चाहिए. I still remember, and this is how I do, is I don't talk about LGBTQ on day one in any school. I just want to first talk to teachers and management of treating a child individually, treating a child unique. You know, instead of giving them pinks and blues in life, let the child choose the color and let him be what they want to be. Stop telling a child to be an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor. At least this used to happen at our times. Well, there were
It
some
still
gender
does.
roles. Yeah, it does. Yeah, so those gender specific professions were told well in advance. लड़की हो तो teacher training कर लेना and stuff like that. So, you know, gender studies in school is very important. And what else, you know, I always say that there are people who can talk about rape and say the basic issue with rape is also that we fail to sensitize our kids at right time about a woman's body or a man's role. We don't want to talk about these topics at the right age, at right time. We still don't talk about the I still go to school and I often ask that आपके 9th class के एक चैप्टर में जिसमें जेंटल डायग्राम सिखाते हैं वो डिस्कस होता है या अभी भी बोल दिया जाता है ये स्कूल में आएगा कल पेपर में इसको लर्न करके आ जाना. We still don't want to talk in 2020 because the teachers, the management, the schooling staff still has its own fears attached to all of it, its own taboo attached to all of it. So gender studies is something we really need to look forward to. Challenges faced by the LGBTQ community, the students, this is something also very close to me because I have faced all of this. And my teachers and my were never able to understand who I am. I never used to like going to sports periods. I always used to like having arts and drawings, and I used to sketch while it was a sports period. And my teachers used to harass me for my different choices, and and kids, schoolmates. For them, I was perfect. I was fat, fair, and feminine, absolutely perfect to abuse and bully. Okay. And what really, so if a teacher knows what's happening with a child, at least that teacher can be a friend and can be a ally and can help a child to grow better. So the child goes through multiple issues, goes to depression, suicides, nobody understands them. I still remember for almost 3 years, after class 9th till class 12th, I was absolutely used to be by with myself, and used to be in my own room, used to just explore YouTube जब YouTube आना शुरू हुआ था, and I started watching stuff on YouTube, and that's it. I was just going inwards. I was just exploring whatever I could, and whatever I used to speak to myself because I had no one to speak. Yeah. So all of this, the direct and indirect discrimination, the sexual abuse, a teacher would pat your ass and you can't help it because teachers ऐसा नहीं करते, right? We recently have a case where a engineer of a small staff is being I think in UP or somewhere, जहां वो 65 बच्चों को उसने 10 साल के एक गैप में abuse किया है. A small engineering staff somewhere in UP, I think, or in Himachal. So we, because we are not aware as parents, we are not aware as co teachers, we are not aware as guardians, and this all happens with a kid. The inability to come out, this is something very important, that a child, how would a child come out, how would I come out when I don't know who I am and what is happening within me? So because I have no awareness that whatever is happening with me is right or whatever is happening with me is normal, I'm all confused. At least 10 saal pehle we never had these communications and these talks. All we had people telling us, "Oye, dheela hai kya, chakka hai kya, hijda hai kya, mamu hai kya," and you should be ashamed of who you are. जब आप पहले ही दिन बच्चे को बोल देते हो कि जरा सीधा होके चल, क्या ढीला सा चल रहा है, तो वो तो दब जाएगा, उसका तो कॉन्फिडेंस खत्म कि ये मेरे चलने पे इतना दिक्कत है इस घर में, मैं ये कैसे बोलूं कि मेरा चाल चलन यही रहेगा. So the whole idea that for a child to come out is severely depressive, vulnerable, suicidal, and parents really need to look out towards their kids. Parents have to understand that ये हमारे घर में हो सकता है. Parents have to don't believe that ये हमारे यहाँ नहीं होता है. All of this, these are the real taboos. ये हमारे यहाँ नहीं होता है, ये हमारे यहाँ नहीं हो सकता है. We are privileged and हमारा तो सब कुछ खिलाई पिलाई अच्छी है, संस्कार अच्छे हैं, ये अच्छा है, वो अच्छा है. बट ये होना बुरा नहीं है, ये भी होना अच्छा है. Things to support the LGBTQ students is, as I said, that teachers should really help and support. There should be now communication about gender, which is very important. I think it will still take time to really get people talk about gender at school because उसके लिए बहुत major reform चाहिए in the teacher education. No, the percentage of LGBT people who hide their sexuality or gender identity at certain events. So accessing service, 34% people would not tell who they are, right? Social and community events, 42 people like to feel unsafe and unsecure and uncomfortable. while they're in mid of 100 people because they feel vulnerable. At workplace, 39% of people talk about uh, don't want to talk about at a workplace. I think 39 also I'm saying is out of just the LGBTQ people who are counted. Our data of accountability and our data in LGBTQ people at workplace is very small. And out of that 30 or 40% people are not wanting to willing to come out. 6 in 10 experience like verbal homophobic abuse. 2 in 10 experience physical homophobic experiences, and 1 in 10 experience the other type of homophobia. So I really believe that we should really talk about what homophobia is, right? Because while we are talking about the LGBTQ, actually the world is talking about homophobia. We are actually late as country. So the homophobia is nothing but your phobia to know the other person, your phobia of saying I dislike अब लाइक बहुत हिंदी में बोलूं तो जैसे एक बच्चा बोलता है ना कि मुझे आम खाने में स्वाद नहीं आता, और जितना हम उस आम ना खाने को अप्रिशिएट करते जाते हैं वो बच्चा उसके प्रति हेट डेवलप करता जाता है, और फिर वो एक दिन कहता है मम्मा ये मेरी टेबल पे आम क्यों रख दिया, इसको फेंक दो. And that is how we start believing and being homophobic, that we don't want the queer community around us, we don't want them in our culture, in our fabric, because we have been phobic. Our dislike has turned into hate. And that spectrum of dislike towards hate is what homophobia is. One more data: transgender men and women experience significantly higher rate and non physical and physical abuse, even compared to gay men and women. You know, as I said, you being a gay man is still a privilege in a patriarchal system. 9 in 10 LGBTQ say youth says the community which they live is not accepting LGBT people, and which is a truth. 10 में से 9 लोगों को
This
acceptance नहीं है.
this is a question that has come and maybe an appropriate time to
Yeah,
how do we sensitize our children and at what age do we start?
I think we need to start sensitizing parents. You know, there's nothing to sensitize kid about LGBTQ. It has to first you sensitize and understand that your child can be or cannot be. Because something the child really don't know who he or she is. You know, sometimes a child can take 10 years to self understand that the person is so and so. But if the parent is aware, if the parents have the knowledge, it's better for parents to come out and have that knowledge about the gender identity so that they can trace the traits of it and can help the child while coming out. And trust me, a supportive parent, a child has a different vision altogether. उसका जिंदगी बदल जाता है अगर पेरेंट्स आसपास सपोर्ट कर दे तो.
Like Ritubi is also asking a question, and I'll take it now. A
Yeah.
very interesting question that she has put. If the parents accept and love a child, however
Hmm.
he, she may be, but the child is still secretive and does not want to come out, so
Hmm.
stays away and cuts off contact with family, how do you deal with that? So the parents are supportive, the parents are understanding.
Hmm. Uh, I don't want to judge the situation, but then there is something which is lacking in support. Not directly with that identity, but as a package. It's not that your child has to talk to you only about when he is gay, and that should be the comfort. The child should also talk about having the first beer or having a smoke at home first time and experiencing it. All of it can be discussed in families, which we don't. We don't talk to our kids about AIDS or about periods or about anything else. So because there is no communication gaps in family, and suddenly parents want to create communication, while for long they had no communication, the child really takes time to come out and to be comfortable. Okay, so there's a lot of data, and we will skip some data for sure. Celebrating diversity is really important. I believe that, which I said, you जितना हमें diverse culture पता होगा उतना हम diverse gender के बारे में बात करना चाहेंगे. So that is how it is. Holding events for kids is very important for them to at front of you, for them to see how the kids are behaving. You have to call your kids friends at home and see what one friend's like and what other friend like. You have to call upon and have a group picnic with your kids, uh, friends, because then you can know how many friends does your child have, who are his good friends, who are friends who are bully him. So interaction with your kid and your kid's friends is very important. Sukriti, there is a very beautiful word which is now in trend, which is called quality time. Yeah, and I always say that thank God this quality time idea was not in our times, right?
Why, why?
Because we had parenthood 24/7, right? And out of those 24/7, we have some beautiful memories left and impacted us forever. Now, because of the kind of schedule mothers and pay fathers have, they try to have this quality time, but that might not be the child's quality time mutually. you know so that quality time really has to be from a space of, is it also a quality time of the child? Does the child want it right now? And what quality work are you doing in this? Because in the quality time, if you're doing extra stuff, you have to also qualify what is to be happen in that quality time. Are you talking bigger issues and better issues, or are you just taking him to a picnic and that's quality time for you? I'm sorry, people can judge me, but yeah, I like to speak what I feel and like to learn as well and change my opinion with time. This is something which I love, huh? This is something which I've been trying doing with Pride, India's Lean In network as well. That we go to places and we say safe zones for 100 other things. Let's have a safe zone marks for LGBTQ people. That this is a place where you will be loved, pampered, and treated equally. I love this initiative which I'm trying, and creating these logos and these marks available at workplaces, available at saloons, restaurants, which just have this and nothing else. It's just a silent awareness, but it really helps a lot for a queer person.
So, Akash, there are lots of questions coming in.
Let's talk then.
Yes, let's talk because I think the first one definitely that has come in is the
My only
closet.
deal is this. My only deal with questions is this. I would like to have a video talk with the person.
Absolutely, because a lot of people
Otherwise, we
know.
will
I
not
think
take we will not take written
you've
questions.
sent them the Akash link, so there are lots of Akashes asking questions.
Perfect.
So, but one question we will start with, of course, is and I like that the person has also said it. This coming out of the closet. This is like that big thing, and he was saying that look, he just watched a movie in which. The gay character makes an entry saying, "Why do I have to come out? Heterosexual people don't have to." Agree. Why do we make such a big deal about this coming out of the closet? Like it's a kind of like the marking moment of
Trust me, this has
please, guys,
played through.
one second. Please do rename yourself so that we can have you ask your questions directly. And I will be
So
coming to Sheetal and Ritu next.
yeah, this is a very interesting question, and because I'm an advocate of LGBTQ rights and I like to talk about it, तो मुझे भी क्या जरूरत थी यहाँ आके बात करने की? तो किसी को भी क्या जरूरत है किसी के लिए बात करने की? For how long we will say other people to fight for us? To all those women who are with sitting with privilege and having a hashtag on their Instagram about Me Too, are they speaking the stories or are they just using the hashtag? Or all those men who are privileged enough of having a better work culture is because someone spoken once for them. It's very important. See, I was having a beautiful, loving, settled, happy life, and more people used to love me while I was in the closet because the family loves you while you are in that fabric, right? But I chose to come out because it was not for me to live a happier ever after. It was for my absolute conscious responsibility to my peers and my community and to many more ahead of us. The Gandhi I quoted in the beginning would have not stood up for anyone if he would not have wanted to. And how would have we had got independence then? So for people, I don't like to give pressure to anyone to when to come out. Your decision. Absolutely. Take your time to come out, but come out and talk about it because it's not that you can sit with privilege. You have to talk to other people who are at a place of abuse. They need to know that there is someone they can look up to. I'm sorry to say, I don't want to name a designer or a Bollywood director who people celebrate as gay identity. But for all their life as a privileged so and so, they kept silent about their identity. They never became an icon to the Indian cinema of a gender issue. So they kept silent and they said, why do we need to come out? And for long, people had to face the burnt of it. For people in privilege have to come out and take it forward.
All right, Ritu, go ahead. Please ask your question. Ritu Aggarwal, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying that movies have now become much more sensitive. It's not, I don't think that they are not sensitive anymore. Somebody put that question that it is the movies, they have made comic characters,
So,
but
ma'am,
now
you don't worry about what other person said. Let's talk about what you wanted to talk.
I
So,
wanted,
yeah.
I just wanted to ask that how do you handle such a situation where uh, somebody is, your child is uh, gay and does not accept it himself. I mean, accepts it, but still wants to stay away from, wants
You
to
know,
hide the.
I completely get it. I will tell you now from a, I've already said that how there must be a communication gap within the family, how they must, but I would also say it from a space of the child now to you. You know, I live with my family. I live with my family. I have my mothers, I have my siblings. I come from a very well known joint family of Delhi. We are business class family, blah, blue. But I still, even today, have that vulnerability within me to say that I am not able to give my mother the happiness she's been told is the happiness to live with. This is my own guilt, even as a gay individual, and I'm being honest. As a gay, when I know that I'm not able to make my mother happy as the society expect happiness is to be like, I have that guilt in me. So many time a child has so much of guilt attached to the self identity, the trauma attached to identity, that he just doesn't feel like, and वो space ही नहीं मिल पाता उसको to come out and talk about it.
Go ahead. We will take the next question from Sheetal. Sheetal, go ahead.
Hi, Akash. If I would have been in person in the same room, I would have given you a big hug.
Thank you.
I have been
We can
really,
still do it.
yeah, I've been really following you. I'm part of a WhatsApp group, and I think you exist there. And I keep following your stories, and your story is pretty inspiring. So my question was, to be very honest, on the personal side, when you discovered and declared that this is my identity, I accept it, and you declared it with your parents, in front of your parents, your siblings. You said you have a joint family. You might have a lot of people in your family. What was their reaction? I
So
mean,
I tell
as a
you,
parent,
huh?
just allow me 30 more seconds, Akash. As a parent, I'm finding it so difficult if I have to, encounter this situation tomorrow. How will I take it? I'm well read. I'm educated. I know what LGBT is all about. I know that all these are myths. I know that it is not a disease. It's not a mental disorder. It's something which a person is born with. But then also, I'm getting goosebumps when I'm talking to you, Akash.
No, I can feel that energy with me. But to tell you that, Sheetal, lots of love for you for accepting your own fears. But the idea, you know why you have those fears? Because for long we all have been saving for that particular one shadi we have to host in life. The day you will stop hosting and thinking about having lakhs of money for your bacche ka shadi, all that expectations out of the child will reduce to none. Am I so wrong? हम पहले दिन से लड़की की शादी का बजट और लड़के की शादी के बजट के लिए पैसा रखते हैं, और जिस दिन बच्चा आगे कहता है नो आई डोंट वांट टू, यू फील लाइक ओ मेरा समाज में क्या होगा, बिकॉज हम सब कुछ समाज के आसपास कर रहे होते हैं. द मोर वी थिंक अबाउट द चाइल्ड, द मोर वी थिंक अबाउट आवर सेल्स एज पेरेंट्स और एज इंडिविजुअल वुमन और अ मैन, the better it would be for a child in the longer run. You would never have this fear because you have never had that thought कि मेरे को एक वंश चाहिए, मेरे को मेरे बच्चे का बच्चा चाहिए. ओके फाइन, अब एक और ऑनेस्टली एक चीज बोलते हैं. I am an absolute heterosexual couple's child, right? Any doubt? Can a gay child give a gay like a gay couple give a gay child? No, na. So my parents were heterosexuals. Was there any guarantee that all my siblings are heterosexuals? I am gay. So it's not that the one child who's born gay would be treated unfairly by the parents because he is not born as how the society expects the parents to have a child like. A lot of parents have this guilt of bad parenting and wrong parenting, and that leads to a child like this. But it's not that. So for parents to how to address this fear is for stop having a lot of expectations out of your child. It's almost like you expecting your child to be topper in the class. It's that equated.
No, but Akash, we also talked about this. Na? कल भी हम लोग ये बात कर रहे थे कि we are okay in society and saying ठीक है, everything is good and we are well read, we accept. But we're very worried when we say, okay, what if it happens in my house?
Well, absolutely. With the space Sheetal is coming is very different from them, because those people who love to say that Akash, we love you and we celebrate you as gay, but मेरे घर में ऐसा ना हो, you know, and the अंदर का thought यही होता है बस मेरा बच्चा ऐसा ना हो, मेरा दोस्त कैसा भी हो. So many people walk up to me and say that we love you, Akash, and we love you for who you are, and I say I love you for the same, but I would love you more the day you love your own child who's gay. Right? Because I don't care of you even not loving me, but your child needs your love and care more than I need your love and care.
Well said, well said. The next question we'll take from Rajni. Go ahead.
Hi, Akash. Thank you for sharing your experience. I was listening to it very intently, and I mean, it would be wonderful for my students to also listen to you. But my question comes more from curiosity. I just want to ask you that I'm sure you must have read and researched a lot also, because it's been such a personal experience to you. Does consciousness have a gender?
Does consciousness have a gender? Okay, you're speaking me from a very spiritual space, and I'm somebody.
I don't know. It's just a question that
no, absolutely.
I keep thinking about it.
No, I'm thankful to this question coming from universe, because I'm today ready to answer it. Because since past 6 months, I'm working on Vedanta, and I'm working towards the awakening of, and Vedanta is what I'm learning through my guru Anu Kalra. And with that, I would like to say ki, consciousness makes you aware so much that all the taboo attached to you and the trauma attached to you and the identity issue attached to you becomes zero towards your life. I would not say that I will not say that consciousness have a gender, but even to reach a space where you can reach to that space of spiritual path, you really have to have that much sorted, privileged life to go there. Even while thinking and talking about consciousness, even while going towards the part of Vedanta, even while practicing Gita, you really have to be privileged. जिसके पेट में रोटी नहीं है, जिसके घर पे छत नहीं है, जिसको आपने समाज में बाहर चौराहे पे हिजड़ा छक्का किन्नर कह के 10 रुपए दिन देना है, वो कहाँ कॉन्शियसनेस लाएगा? So the whole idea of consciousness is celebrating life. And when a child's life is reduced to nothing, how will that child reach to that space of evaluating?
So before going to Sonia's question, I'm going to ask one. It's coming from somebody else also who's named Akash, because I think because they have their link, no? So it says, Akash, nowadays I'm finding that there are many young people around 17 to 21 or so who are having same sex in schools and colleges. And many of them seem to be doing it for fun. And it seems to be very normal on this. Now, any comments on this?
I missed it completely. I'm sorry.
Yeah? Sorry. Again, I will repeat. Akash, nowadays I'm finding that there are many young people, age bracket 17 to 21 or so, who are having same sex in school and colleges, and many of them seem to be doing it just for fun. It seems to be very normal. Any comments on this?
No, not my comment, because it is equally not your business if you can't come out and talk to me. Because I really want to know about. No, I'm very serious.
No, they can't. I think I'm not able to unmute them because their name came in, so I don't know which Akash it is.
So I'm addressing to that person's query.
Yeah.
That because I really don't want to quote that आजकल ये हो रहा है और 17 से 21 साल के लड़के ये कर रहे हैं, लड़कियां ये कर रही हैं और ये cool है या नहीं है, मुझे नहीं पता है. I don't want to address that part because I find it as an observation more than of a question. And this observation is very personal and can be your experience and can be your thought, because कहाँ ये हो रहा है और इतना ज्यादा कहाँ खुला हो रहा है कि आपको पता है. बस मुझे तो वही लोग नहीं पता जो कहते हैं उनके पड़ोस में उनको पता है कि कोई गे है, लोग तो उस बात ही नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो इतना ज्यादा कल्चर में अगर आपको लग रहा है बदलाव आ गया या बच्चे ये कर रहे हैं, तो प्लीज कहाँ कर रहे हैं मुझे भी बताइए. फॉर मी इट्स एन ऑब्जर्वेशन एंड नथिंग एल्स.
Sonia, go ahead. Your question next.
I didn't have a question, but actually I was just commenting in the topic that I think there was a question posted about difference, something to do with how is it that some people, something with gays, I don't remember the question, but I said it's something, my answer to that question was basically like anything different in society, we don't regard, we trivialize it, we stigmatize it. So similarly with homosexual people, we will stigmatize it, especially in regards to sexuality in India, because first of all, sexuality is a taboo subject. And now if you're different, if you are LGBTQ,
Yeah.
you know, so that's all. I was answering a question.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next question from Sukriti. Verma, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, like, if a person is like feeling such that I'm having feeling towards a female or a person is having feelings towards a male, तो ऐसा लगता है कि हम ना किसी से बात नहीं कर सकते, हम किसी को मतलब कहाँ जाएं, किससे हेल्प लें, बहुत डर डर लगता है, डॉक्टर के पास जाएं या कोई ऐसा फ्रेंड हो जिससे बात कर सकें. तो ऐसा कुछ सपोर्ट ग्रुप है जिससे हम मतलब कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि अगर हम उनसे बात करेंगे तो और कनेक्टेड फील करेंगे. बाकी जो ये चीज मानते ही नहीं है ना, उनके साथ बस अब भाग गए यहाँ से, नहीं तो हमें कुछ ना कुछ गलत सलत बोलेंगे. तो ऐसे कोई ग्रुप्स हैं जिनके साथ हम जुड़ सकते हैं?
Okay, great. So I have two answers for it. Sukriti, today we have the opportunity to have support groups, right? But I never had that. And I will talk from the both space. How about you don't have a so-called virtual support group? How about you don't have a WhatsApp group? You don't have allies. The very first ally and a support you have to be to yourself. Self-educate, self-believe, self-learn, self-understand, and be a support to anyone first. In my journey, as being a feminist, as being a designer, as being a gay, for all my life, I was a supportive person to anybody and everybody. And that karma add up to the fact that today I have a support group myself. So it's great to seek support, but how about starting by giving support to anybody and everybody? And then might be that person says, hey, but what's your issue? Batana. So that can be one way. The other way is, yes, with now, because we have all of it, which I said, which we never had. So yeah, I run a group on WhatsApp as well, which is for Pride India Lean In. Lean In is a network for individuals who are working, and we are and the whole idea of Lean In is to lean on towards someone and to share and care. So you can connect with Pride India Lean In, you can connect with me through Instagram, Facebook, and however, and I'm just a call away.
Thank you so
Two
much.
more questions. We'll take Ganesha. I know you have your hand raised. I'm asking you to unmute. And then Murali, we will take your question, Murali. But we are getting some background noise, so sorry. Go ahead, Ganesha.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Right now, I'm just 16 years old, and recently I discovered that I'm bisexual, and I don't know how to come out, or I don't know how to talk about it. And I know for sure that my parents don't know what it is. And how should I educate them? How should I tell my friends? What should I do?
Are you self-educated enough to come up? I'll start from that space. And
Yeah, I have read
because
a lot of articles. I've done a lot
no,
of
let's
research.
not talk about research. Let's talk about you exploring your own body and your own mind and your own thoughts and coming to a conclusion, and be patient enough. Ganesha, I'm somebody who took 5 years to understand who I am. And the day I understood who I am, I was so sorted that uske baad I was easily able to solve these questions which I'm doing today. Uh, at 16, I would say one thing to you as a friend, as someone from the community, as someone who can just tell you a very honest suggestion is this, that come out, no issues, but don't be all about it. Okay?
Okay.
Uh, Prioritize life than just sexuality. This a conversation which we can take and lead over a personal phone calls as well, because I'm really going to suggest you is to hold on, be patient. To all those people who want to come out at early stage and early in life, I say, why and what is the hurry? What is the hurry for us to come out at 16 is what I think. And because there'll be people who would say, oh wow, come out, tell them it's their issue and they will love it, but actually, are you ready to take if the pressure falls back to you? Are you mentally sorted enough and soaked enough of information? Because in my life, Ganesha, when I came out with the fact that I understood that the society I live in is misogynistic, patriarchal, sexist, casteist, classist, elitist, and whatnot. I understood the fabric of society and then came out. I started looking society out of a lot of empathy to all those who know nothing about me. Like anybody who's coming today and asking me a question, I have zero judgments for them because I think that they just don't know. So when you want to come out, when you want to come out towards your parents, I first want you to just self-evaluate and take your time. And I'm there for you. Connect. We can really get connected on
Akash, I
Instagram.
also loved what you said about the expectations on the other side when you do come out. If you could repeat that when we were having the conversation yesterday. That
Okay.
don't expect the other side will, yeah, it
Yeah.
took you 5 years to understand yourself.
That's why I said मुझे 5 साल लगे ये समझने में कि मैं कौन हूं और मैंने अपनी माँ को 5 दिन नहीं दिए. मैं उनको 50 साल देने के लिए तैयार हूं. That's how my patience is. I'm not going to be in a hurry of people's validation for me. I'm not seeking acceptance. I'm giving acceptance, and that's how I roll reverse. To all those people from the community who is seeking acceptance, I said them stop it. Start giving them acceptance as who they are. They just don't know. They are generations old, like who have not been raised with that awareness. We could have been equally like that if we would have not been gays or lesbians. So instead of being rebellious, and you know why I say this, Sukriti, is because मुझे बच्चों को घर से
I
नहीं
loved it
निकलने
when you
देना.
said it yesterday
मुझे
also.
I don't want these young kids to be on the road at 16 and 20. I want them to come to a space. The whole idea of scrapping Section 377 is because we want these kids to stay at home, because the criminalization part of it is over. I completely understand that there's a lot of pressure which parents gives, and there's a lot of conversion therapies which are still prevalent, and parents harass the kids. But I really completely believe that we have to be patient in the process. You need to come out while you're vulnerable. You really need to come out if it is not helping you and you're psychologically feeling pressured. You really need to come out if somebody is abusing you and you cannot handle it all alone and you need parental support. You really need to come out even if you're at 14 and if you know what's happening with you. Other than that, because you just want to come out and live a life by just telling them about it, I can that can hold. Sorry.
Murli, your question, I think you were there and you are gone. So if you did want to ask it, please do let us know. There you are. I'm asking you to unmute. Go ahead. Go ahead, Murli. This is the last question. Sorry, we're running out of time. Murli, if you want to ask your question. No, he's not. Are you able to unmute? Okay, sorry. If you want to type in your question. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead. Go ahead, Murli.
Is Murli here? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
Okay, okay. First of all, I want to thank the Shakti for this valuable meeting. As a teacher, I want to ask this question: what means how we can educate the children regarding this LGBT education? Because adolescence starts from the school only. So why don't we have some kind of syllabus based on this? Because whoever the gender, they are all humans. So how we can educate this? Can you please guide me that how to approach this to this children? Yes, please.
So yes, it was a little bit convoluted, the voice. Sorry about that. But I think the main gist of the question is how to educate
How to
and how
educate
to
the
bring this into the school systems.
see how to educate and get it into a school system is talking about a major change in policy. We recently had the national education program. We recently have a policy in place, which is still not talking about it with much larger heart. So at the school system, I don't know. At the home, So all what we don't know, which is not taught at school, is being taught at home. You don't have to tell your child about LGBTQ only when you think he's a gay. You can just talk it as you have to talk about periods, and you have to talk about AIDS, and you have to talk about first beer or a first smoke or a first drag. All that you want to introduce your child with, which school fails to, you should make it a part of it. So I really believe independently parents should, obviously, if this comes from school, the impact is larger. It comes from places of policy makers, the impact is bigger. But if they're failing at it, we have to take it in our own hands.
So I know we have run out of time. I apologize if we did not get to some questions. But Akash, any last words before we sign off for tonight? And Akash, yes, he is available on Instagram. Like he said, please do reach out to him. He's extremely warm. And like I'm still confused. He, she. So Akash is extremely
Don't
warm.
be, if you're confused by the end of the show, then dobara karna padega.
We'll say we will have to have you back.
No, see, my last thing to everybody is this, that how about just living and letting other live? How about just stop interfering other people's life? How about just stop? Sukriti, I would not leave a message for the LGBTQ spectrum, and for that, from that space, I'm going to speak from a space that how a better society can be, and that society can be when we have empathy. When we start getting aware around us, for all, imagine in 2020 we are still don't know about LGBTQ, we still don't know about harassment at workplace, we still don't know about pedophilias, we still don't know so much. Start educating yourself, be aware, stop believing ये मेरे यहाँ नहीं होता, ये कहीं भी हो सकता है. Stop believing your boy child as a खुला सांड and your ladki as a गाय जो दूध देती है. Stop creating that difference. I'm sorry people will judge me, but this is how I will sum up. Start creating a space of equality at home for both of your child. Give them equal parenting and make that parenting very friendly.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us today. And with that, I think lots to think about. And Akash, I think we have to have you back because there are too many questions that are still unanswered. Well,
I may
with
just
that,
take
I
a minute and say that I'm available on Instagram as Akassh K Aggarwal. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and I love to talk people. And any query you have, and I don't judge. I don't judge. Walk in, talk, bindas. Thank you.
thank you guys. Good night. And we'll see you soon back on Sipping Thoughts.
Bye. I may take a leave.